one, which is just a small clarification I want to make. People often confuse introvert with not charming. And I think that's a huge miss, right? So I'm an extrovert, you're an introvert. But someone could take these personality tests and they could discover they're an introvert, which literally just talks about how you're energized, right? And then they could go, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm screwed. I'll always struggle to make friends. I'll always struggle to be attractive. And it's nothing I can fix because it's this permanent personality trait, right? Which I don't even know if I agree with that, because I think introvert, extrovert is a spectrum that can be changed, but let's pretend it's fixed. I still think that that's not what this is saying. It's literally just saying that in the middle of being incredibly charming and making great friends and having everyone, you know, want to date you, you need to go find time to recharge alone. That's all introvert means. So I think these things can be dangerous if people read too much into them. That would be my first thing. Sure, use it if it's advantageous to you to get to know yourself, but to the extent you think a personality test tells you things about yourself that you can't be successful at, that limit you, throw it out. Because I don't think that that's what these are meant to be doing at all.
Sure. You use DISC, right?
Yeah, I love DISC.
You told me I was high D the other
Very high
day.
D.
Huge D.
Big D char.
Huge
That's
D.
what we call it, man, yeah.
What does the D stand for?
It's like
I
decision
don't know.
or
It's almost
decisive.
decision making. It doesn't really, I don't know if it stands for something specific.
I'll look it up.
So I'll give my brief answer, but unless you have a strong reaction to this, because I know that you often
I
talk like
honestly
this.
thought there were questions for you guys.
Well, you think about this more than I do.
What is the exact
Well, there's a lot of questions. Okay, I'll give you my thoughts. One, should you tailor? Is there any sort of structure that I use to tailor my interactions towards people? Occasionally, I use Tony Robbins' stuff. When I'm trying to be persuasive with someone, I'll note if they're a matcher or a mismatcher. So if you're trying to be persuasive and someone just disagrees, you can double bind them, right? You can go, you're right to be
Sneak
skeptical,
around
or you can recognize those sorts of things. So
That's the best. You're right. You are right to be skeptical. I'm not skeptical. Excellent. Now we may proceed.
Yes.
That one's awesome.
So Tony's stuff is actually, it's not particular to people. It just talks about the 6 human needs common to all people. But I don't, in my interactions, think, oh, this someone is an INFJ, therefore I ought to be different. Maybe I might benefit from it, but it's not how that's at least consciously am thinking. I do on occasion notice that someone is going to be quiet in a group, so I might ask them a question, but that's not something that I change my behavior based on.
I would also say it's very fickle. Like if you're interacting with someone for an afternoon and you're trying to tailor your actions around them, you're not working on yourself.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're better off to understand what type you are and what you're going to lean towards and what you're going to most likely forget. Like I'm also high D, big D bros.
Dominance. D is dominance.
It is, I think it's like a bird's eye view. I'm very terrible with the details. Like I don't read, I don't proofread. It's all terrible. And I think for me, it's good for me to have learned that and then hire someone who is very high C, which is very detail oriented, and work together. And I'd say in social situations, you probably want to know where are your weaknesses and where are your strengths, and then just know that you're just an archetype. Like there's many people like you and you're going to make these mistakes. Know them ahead of time.
What do I do if I'm just really high in all of them?
Just an expert.
Just 100% in all of them. What does that mean?
You're very high I for sure.
Ascended.
Influence?
Influence, and it's like
Thanks, man.
it's like social, like working in a team, working together.
So the area where I think this is, I think in my social life, I almost completely threw these out. I had the same thought that these were jokes, but where I've been like begrudgingly come around to them is when it comes to hiring.
Yeah.
I don't like these tests at all, except then you're hiring someone, you go, oh my God, I was going to hire myself. like we're the same. I actually need someone who's different and is not, and who I might not immediately click with. So in those sense, the DISC test, for instance, is very useful for trying to find the right person.
When you're making friends, it's oftentimes people like people that are similar to them, but when you're building a team for anything, if you are all the same, then you're all going to have the same weaknesses.
What about a relationship or
That's a good question.
counterpart? You guys are experts.
I'm not. I wonder if there would be any sort of data on types that work and not work well. I hate the word work well.
Like
that make
Capricorns
one
are
another
good
happy.
with Geminis.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Though the one thing that I have heard, which I don't know if this is true, I actually don't know.
That's the LA type that you want
What
to
are
know
you talking about? We're talking about Myers-Briggs.
Gemini.
I'm a Capricorn.
I'm a Leo, baby. Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but there are people who purport that the key to having a happy relationship is to be equally distant from the middle of the masculine feminine spectrum, which is to say if you are, and it has nothing to do with gender, but This is just the traits they make up for masculine and feminine, which is if you're fairly in the middle, you will be happiest with someone who's fairly in the middle, because you're going to feel like someone who's too far to one side is too much of something. And conversely, if you are hard on one side, you're very masculine or very feminine. This theory would purport that someone who's really equally distant on the other side is going to make you happy, which I don't know, because that's not how my dating has been in the past, I feel like. But maybe that's why it hasn't worked out.
When you were saying that the entire time, I was just thinking of Ryan Gosling going, you. Or is it Tom Cruise? Complete.
You, me. Yeah. No, that's the thing. I have no idea if it's, just to be clear, I have no idea if it's accurate or not. But that's a theory I've heard.
Love languages, I think, are very important.
Also, on the dating apps are incredibly important.
Personal.
My love language is gifts.
Gifts and gifts. So
Gifts and love gifts.
I like receiving gifts.
No, the love languages is good. I think the biggest thing is people try to understand their partner's love languages as an attempt to try to give those. And I think the best thing you can do if you're going to use the love languages is figure out, how do I naturally give love, and then find someone who interprets that as receiving love. Does that make sense? So like, I'm very touchy. Rather than finding someone, oh, this person's gifts, I'm going to set a phone reminder every month to get this person a gift. That is so inorganic. The best thing I can do, I think, is go, listen, the way I express love is compliments and touch. So I should find someone who, when they get compliments and touch, feels loved. And then I will effortlessly make that person feel loved. You know what I mean? So that I like the love languages a lot, but that's how I think you should use them. Whereas before, I was in a mismatch. And I was like, cool, you like quality time? I hate quality time, but I'm going to force myself to do some so you'll be happy. And it's like, well, now I don't want to do this. And she didn't like touch. And I love touch. So, well, okay, push yourself out of your comfort zone to scratch my head a little bit more because it makes me feel loved. It's like, no, this is terrible. You should just find someone that likes to give quality time, and I should find someone who likes to give touch.
Have you met a girl who you're attracted to whose love language is not quality time?
Or what you purport your love languages are?
I don't know, because I've kind of moved away from that model, honestly. I actually feel like it happens unspokenly if you're finding the right person. But yeah, I mean, actually, someone I'm seeing now, her thing is definitely not quality time.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure. Because she says she feels smothered when people try to see her too much.
I gotcha.
Is that because you're laying on top of her? Or
Your lap is in my mouth.
She does say that I'm a bit too heavy
your
for
dog
that.
is just licking her ears?
Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.